Hi guys, welcome to Egome Studio, another sewing tutorial, and today I'm going to show you how to make this dress. And throughout this video, I'm going to guide you step by step through a process that will basically result in making this dress. And I love it, as you can tell. I know I say it about every design I make, but I truly mean it. I really like it. It's so fun and very festive, very Christmassy, New Year's Eve. Yep, English is my second language. Thank you, hello, goodbye. And you can make it for honestly any occasion that you like, for Valentine's Day, Christmas, weddings, just parties. I mean, it's fun, it's short. You don't have to make it as short as I did. What I love about this dress is that it is very inexpensive to make. So if you're a beginner and this is definitely not a beginner's dress, okay? So this is definitely more of an intermediate to an advanced sewer project. However, if you are a beginner and you want to learn how to make something more difficult, you want to challenge yourself a little bit, this dress is definitely a good way to go because it's not expensive to make. It's made out of taffeta and polyester. Taffeta is polyester. Polyester is cheap. It's like the cheapest fabric ever. This dress was under $15. You can easily make it under 10 with zippers and everything. It's, like I said, it's not expensive. So if you're a beginner and you are not that good at sewing, but you want to learn and challenge yourself, then definitely I would recommend it. Is it going to look good when you sew it? Probably not. It's probably not going to be the best thing you've ever made. However, that's kind of how you can progress faster, I think. When I studied fashion, I did some advanced pattern making designs that were hard, honestly, were above my skills, but that's kind of how I learned it. It looked good when I sew it, when I made it. It didn't look amazing. However, it allowed me to learn how to make more complicated patterns, making more difficult designs. Sewing them definitely can help you to progress a little bit more. And yeah, it is fun and doesn't cost a lot. You can toss it and then just make a new one later. So that's just the cool thing about it. This dress has a balloon hem. I definitely see more of balloon dresses and skirts in trends reports. So if you want to be up to date with trends, if you care about that kind of stuff, then this is definitely a cool thing to do. I don't know if this is going to be a mainstream trend or more like a micro trend, or I don't know, worn only by fashion people, but it's definitely a cool thing to try and see if you like it. And if you don't like it, then you do not have to hem it this way. You can just leave it as it is and it's going to be beautiful, just like a straight dress. I think I said everything. If I didn't, then everything will be in the rest of the video. So yeah, let's go and make the dress together. I already made it, but now you can make it. So let's go. Also, the dress is available on Egome Patterns. I forgot to tell you that, the most important thing. That's where you can purchase the pattern. The link will be down below. And I think I say it at the end, but I don't know if anybody watches till the end, so I just thought I would say it right now. Okay, bye. Let's go back to the video. All right, let's get to work. So the first thing that I like to do is to prepare the sewing machine for further sewing. And another thing that I didn't show in this video, but I always pre-wash the fabric. It prevents it from basically shrinking later, and I just press it with an iron. I just finished pinning all of the darts, and I did it with lining, as you can see here, and I did it also for the main fabric. It took me an hour to pin all of them. This pattern the bodice has so many darts, same as lining the skirt. The bottom part of the lining has like 8 or 10 darts, a lot of darts. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to sew them. I like to do it first before I proceed with anything else. So I sew them, I press them, and basically the pattern is ready for further sewing. When it comes to darts, start stitching the dart from wide end to point, and do not back stitch at the end. Instead, leave about 10 centimeters of thread hanging. We will use it later to just tie the knot at the end, and that's way easier than back stitching. That's not really the proper way of doing it. So do not back stitch the darts. What I just did, I just tied the end of the thread. So that's how I finished the dart. So it's all secure. And then after that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just trim it a little bit, like this much. So Yeah, so that's how the dart looks good instead of just backstitching the end. Like that's kind of how you're supposed to sew the darts. I mean, at least that's how I like to sew them. So yeah, and I'm gonna do the same with this one. Yeah, it's kind of tangled here, unfortunately. Okay, that's fine. It's not a big deal. All right, so yep, I just tie the end of the thread, and I'm gonna do it again, and that's how I finish the dart. And of course, another thing that you have to do is to press the darts over tailor's hem towards the side seams. I just finished pressing all of the seams. As you can see here, they're nicely pressed. They look sharp and flat. One thing that's really important when sewing, especially the bodice, the main bodice from main fabric taffeta, is to have all of the darts even at the end. I remember when I was in fashion school, one of my teachers, we obviously have fashion week, we have to do something for fashion week. And one of my teachers, I had to fix it quickly because my two darts were not fully even. So make sure that they're even. I mean, if it's like one stitch more or less, like whatever, but it's kind of important to keep it nice. When it comes to lining, I'm a little bit more sloppy. I'm just like, okay, I hope they're kind of even. Nobody will see it anyways. But if I wanted to sell it, I would of course make sure that everything is even. That's something that you have to remember about. After I pressed all of the seams, all of the darts, I'm gonna sew the seams. So all of the side seams except the one on the right side, that's where the zipper will be. So I'll first press it and then I will insert the zipper on the right side. Yeah, I'm gonna show it to you. If you wanna know how to insert a zipper, I think video number 1, I'm gonna link it down below. It's for the skirt and it's called Rosy Skirt. That's how I named it. You can go and see, that's where I show you in depth how to sew a zipper. Place both parts of back bodice right sides together and pin them at the center back. Then just straight stitch and of course repeat the same for lining. Press the seam allowances flat and then press them open. Place front and back bodice right sides together and then pin them on the left side. Make sure to leave the right side open. That's where we are going to insert the zipper later. And then just straight stitch it. Of course, you have to repeat all the same steps for lining, but you have to remember that when lining is inserted into the main fabric, all the side seams are mirroring the main fabric. So make sure to sew the right side seam. And that's kind of important. And also, after, press the seams flat and press them open. Then place the front and back skirt right sides together and pin the side seam. Then just sew a straight stitch and repeat the same for the main fabric. Pin all the side seams and then sew them together. Afterwards, take it to the ironing station and press the seams flat and then press them open. All right, this is my least favorite part. It's time to gather the skirt. So I just gathered it at the hem, a little bit above the seam line, like 2 millimeters, and then I attach it to the bodice, right sides together. First, of course, you have to make sure that all the seams are matching and notches and center front, center back, all that kind of stuff, and then just spread the gathers evenly. And this is how it looks like pinned together. You can of course baste it as well if you want. I don't do it. I just sew, and sometimes I sew over pins, sometimes I take them out. It just depends how I feel, but it's all good as long as you pin them perpendicular to the seam, then it's all good. Hi guys, it's Monday morning. I need to wake up. I've got my coffee, and today I'm gonna finish the dress. I'm just excited because I think it looks so cool, and it's gonna look so cool for any like Christmas party or just like anything Christmas related. And it's short, and I don't really wear short dresses, but I need some more stuff for the store that's not always long. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Let's do the same thing for the lining. So place skirt and bodice right sides together, match all the notches, all the darts, and sew a straight stitch. Here, as you can see, all of the darts are matching. And now I'm going to press the seam open. Place the left side of the open zipper tape face down on the right side of the garment piece and pin it all together. Sew a straight stitch throughout the zipper's tape and then remove the pins, or you can also hand baste it in place. This is how it looks like right now. It is not ready yet. We have to now attach the zipper's foot and then sew a straight seam very close to the coils, and that will basically make the zipper invisible on the right side of the garment. If you need more in-depth tutorial on how to attach an invisible zipper, then definitely go to a video that I will link down below. It's about rosy skirt, and that's when I'm showing you more in depth how to do it. Then pin the rest of the skirt together and sew a straight stitch pretty close to the coils. Replace the invisible zipper foot with a standard presser foot. If your zipper is too long, then trim it. It's fine. It's actually better to buy a zipper that is too long than too short, because it's super easy to just adjust it to whatever size you need it. Just stitch it back and forth to secure the end. Then sew the lower portion of the zipper tape and seam allowance together to secure it in place. This doesn't look amazing, however, it is all gonna be hidden under the lining, so it doesn't really matter. Another thing that I did, but I didn't record, I opened the zipper and then I placed front and back bodice right sides together, and then I pinned that 1 centimeter seam allowance that is left above the zipper stop. I obviously sew it, sew a straight stitch, and it basically is necessary to do it in order to attach the sleeve later, so make sure that this part is connected. After that, pin and sew shoulder seams together. Then I press the seams flat and I press them open. We basically do it for any seam that we sew together. Let's work on a sleeve. It's actually super easy. So gather the sleeve from notch to notch and do it for both lining and the main fabric. Stitch the underarm seam right sides together. Repeat the same steps for the rest of the sleeves. And of course, press the seam allowances flat and open. Alright, now my favorite part that I thought it was so difficult in the past, but it's actually the easiest for me nowadays. Basically, insert sleeve into armhole with right sides together. Pin all matched markings. That's very important. After you pin all the notches and underarm seam, all that stuff, then spread the gathers evenly and then, pin the rest. Then just straight stitch everything together, notch and trim the excess. Repeat the same steps for the main fabric as we did before. So insert the sleeve, match all the notches, spread the gathers evenly, and just sew a straight stitch attaching both pieces together. We are going to attach lining to the dress. In order to do that, place the dress inside the lining, right sides facing each other, then match the notches center front and center back, and pin and stitch the neckline of lining and the dress together. What I like to do once the seam has been stitched, I like to press the seam allowance open and then I like to press it towards the lining. After that, I just sew a straight stitch on the right side of the lining, close to the seam line. This will prevent lining from showing to the right side. Then I just clip the neckline to allow it to shape better. While the dress is turned to the right side, fold the sleeve in half and mark the notch that's halfway from the underarm seam. Repeat the same for lining. Gather the sleeve hem. Fold the hem of the sleeve and sleeve lining to the inside and pin both layers at the notch and underarm seam, so the right sides are facing each other. Place your hand inside the dress through the hem in between main fabric and lining and grab that notch that you previously pinned and just pull it to the outside. This part is quite easy. Now just repin the notch and the side seam and then pin the rest of the sleeve hem together, just like this. I feel like sometimes it's so hard for me to explain all of this, but I hope that at least the visuals help a little bit. Here, as you can see, I just sew a straight stitch and that's how I attach the hem together. Then pull the sleeve to the right side. I find this part very easy to do, but quite hard to explain. So, what you have to do, you have to take the lining piece and turn it over so that the right side of the lining it's facing the right side of the dress, or right side of the zipper, I would rather say. Pin along the zipper and sew a straight stitch from sleeve to the zipper notch close to the coils. Of course, repeat the same for the other side of lining. This is how it looks like when it's ready on the outside, and that's how it looks like on the inside. Place the rest of the skirt lining right sides together and then sew from zipper notch to the hem. And that's basically how we connect it together. Afterwards, you just have to go and press it flat and then press it open as every other seam allowance that we sew together. Mark the center front and center back of skirt and skirt lining. Then take either front or back part of the dress and gather the hem. This part looks difficult, but it's quite easy. So as you can see here, I'm holding the front part of the skirt. That's literally the only part that I gathered so far. And then the rest of the dress, you have to fold it in between the skirt lining and the front part of the skirt. Front part of the skirt and front part of lining has to be placed right sides together. Remember to first match the notches, which is center front, and then side seams. After that, you can spread the gathers evenly. When you're done pinning, then just sew a straight stitch, attaching both layers together. Then you can turn it to the right side and half of the dress is done. Now let's hem the other part. So you have to repeat all the steps exactly the same way. The only difference is you have to leave a little space, as you can see here, for the dress to be able to be turned over to the right side after we're done with sewing. Hand stitch the rest of the hem and the dress is done.
Oh my gosh, this is kind of cool.
Let me see. Is this like good, or do I want to fix it? Yep, I was very excited about this dress, and then I questioned my life choices, and then I was excited again. That's kind of how it works with any design I make. The more you know. Anyways, hopefully you like this tutorial. If you want to purchase the pattern, you can buy it on Egoma Patterns on Etsy. Link will be down below. Hopefully the rest of the year for you is beautiful, and I will see you next year in 2024. Oh, and I forgot. Subscribe, comment, like, and maybe do not comment if you don't like it. But if you like it, then comment. But if you don't like it, I will delete your comments. So just FYI.